A bail-in is where they can freeze your bank account and they can take your money. And this has actually happened, which we're going to show you in a moment. All right, they can freeze your bank account and they can take your money. It's an alternative to bailouts, really. It's more under the radar. I think it's more politically friendly, from what I've noticed, from what I've learned myself and researched. More politically friendly, and it's like I said, it's how they can take your money off you. They can freeze your accounts and take a percentage of your savings from you.
Just to clarify, a bailout is the government or us, and the bail-ins is where they get money from creditors and depositors. So people that are depositing money with that financial institution, they don't go to the government because that's not seen as, it's not seen as a good thing on the face of it. They go to the creditors and depositors and they use their money. So they bail themselves out within their own institution, hence the name bail-in.
And just one other thing that I've come into touch with in the last few months, that when they freeze your account, which I've had happen,
yes,
and it was for political reasons, they don't have to give you a reason why.
Nope.
And when I contacted the ombudsman said, yes, we'll investigate and come back to you in 4 months.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, you've had some stories, haven't you, mate? You've because you're speaking to people every day, all day. Yep. We've had people asking us for help, and they've been telling you about what's been going on, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, people's accounts have been frozen. We had a lady yesterday who just normal, hardworking people who were wanting to do something to protect themselves. And I think people know that this stuff kind of can happen in theory, but they're not having daily experiences of it, so it's a little bit distant from them.
Yeah.
But yesterday, a lady who wanted to purchase some precious metals, protecting her family, doing what we think is the right thing, and the bank put a lot of pressure on her to say, like, what are you doing? And I think it really bothered her. She said, I knew all of this stuff could go on, but I've experienced it for myself, and I really don't like it. We've had another lady, I'm just picking a few stories here, but another lady, the bank were quite patronising, really. She's a more senior lady, I'm sure she won't mind me saying that. And they were just patronising, saying, have you spoken to your family about this? And she's like, I'm a businesswoman. I know what I'm doing. It's my money. Just, bugger off. If it's my money and I can do what I want with it, then just step out of the way. So this does happen, and people are seeing it all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen if you try and get gold out there, does it? If you've got gold under your own safekeeping, like I have with Loomis, Loomis never say to me, "Oh, you can't take that out,"
because they know it's yours.
They know it's mine.
They know it's yours.
Exactly.
It would only happen, Charlie. It would only happen if your gold was in the bank.
That's exactly right.
It would only happen because we've heard stories of that again, where people have been fighting to get their gold out of the bank. It's been months. And then down the line, they haven't got the gold back. They've been given cash instead.
Yeah. Well, I've got one particular client that's got gold in a Swiss bank. And we found out that they'd taken it off the custody sheets, put it onto the balance sheets, which is totally illegal. And then they'd sold it, which we've alluded to earlier. And they now can't afford to buy it back because the guy wants his gold back and they can't afford to get it back. And he stopped paying the storage fees on it. And they said, well, you can't get it back until you've paid the last 2 years storage fees. And he said, but you haven't been storing it. Because we have hard evidence that they've sold it. We know where it went. We've got the paper trail from an insider. And this is how corrupt they've become. But we're seeing this. We're seeing now people waking up to this, and their game will soon be over. So it's very important to protect what you have.
You brought up a very good point there, Charlie, about balance sheets. We talk about this all the time, Adam, don't we?
Yeah.
Balance sheets. Whose balance sheet is your money on when it's in the bank?
Yeah.
It's on the banks.
Yeah.
That's why it's not ours. It's not. we go on about this over and over and over again.
Yeah.
On their balance sheet, not ours.
It is.
And they didn't need your permission to move it from the custody sheet onto the balance sheet because they're allowed to by the government.
Yep. They're reinforced and empowered by the government.
Yeah.
It's madness how all of this. It's a bit of a one-way system where you put the money in, and then they just do what they want with it. But it's almost in difficult times impossible to get it out. Which will show you some examples of this in a second.
I'll show you that now. So that's what bailing is. It's basically where it's still our money. It's keeping it really simple. It's still taking our money. All right, it's taken out of our pockets. It's taking it from our bank accounts. All right. Yeah. So in this next example, this just shows you what happens. This happened back in March 2013 in Cyprus. Any person that saved over 100,000 euros, had that over 100,000 in the bank, got 6% of their savings taken from them. This is an example. This happened. Again, we're not making this up. You can go out there and find this out for yourself. This could have been a couple that had saved all their lives. This could, these were, I'm sure many of them were hardworking families that weren't just given that money. They'd saved all their lives. That could have been their pensions. That could be what they're relying on for their futures. Wiped out 60%.
Yep.
Right? Wiped out. It's on the bank's balance sheet, not theirs.
Right? And we bring it back to the key point of this whole thing is you're not in control. You're not. If you were, you'd be able to take all of your money. If they were just storing it for you, they'd give it you all back. But they're not storing it. They're doing what they want with it, and they don't have to give it you back. The government empowered and put the legislation in place that banks don't have to give it you all back.
Sure.
Honestly, it's mad. As I'm hearing myself say it now, it's absolute madness. But it's out there. Please do your own research.
Well, there's a precedent being set now, hasn't there?
Yes.
It's no doubt it's going to be used again. And if it's going to be used again at some point, but anyway, I won't go into that. But again, I'll try not to go down the rabbit hole too long. As long as people get that message, that's the main thing. Right, this has happened. It could happen again, and it's most likely to happen again. Greece. All right, next example is Greece. Back in 2015, this happened. It was in the papers actually, June 15, when this is a snapshot of all the people, a snapshot shot of a bunch of people queuing to go into the bank, because they were only allowed no more than 60 euros per day. Right, per day. Their money was restricted, and if they missed a day because they're in these queues, if they missed a day, then they lost it. Right. They've got to think about feeding their family. They, again, as Adam said, they've got no control. No control. People were queuing for flipping. They were just stood up all day in queues to get their money.
I can see a lot of old people there that have worked all their lives. To save to look after themselves and their family. And that's just that's how shocking it really is.
It's really upsetting, Charlie, isn't it? I have to try not to get too emotional because I'm a soft bugger, but it's really upsetting, and this is why we're very passionate about what we do, just to get this message across to people and try and kick them in the ass to go and do something about it. Right?
And this is Greece and Cyprus. We're not talking about developing countries or Greece and Cyprus. They're not.
It lasted for 3 years. It lasted for 3 years.
Yes, that's the other thing that I think a lot of people don't realise that as well is the situation in Greece. 3 years that withdrawals were limited. They were initially 60 euros, and then it kind of went up. But 3 years that the banks and the government were controlling what people were taking out.
I think it was September 18 it finished. For 3 whole years.
One of the oldest countries in the world. It's certainly one of the oldest regions in the world. All right, they're famous for not really paying taxes, but maybe they were ahead of the game.
Sure.
Yeah. It gets so mild. It gets so slippery mild, I'll tell you. But anyway,
Yes.
We've stood up and said this so many times when I was seminars, you know, all over the country. Even in Holland, we did a few seminars telling people about what goes on in the world and trying to wake people up. And we've said it time and time again, but it's great now because a lot more people are listening, Charlie. So
Good.
like the people like yourself, you know, helping us out to help you to help us.
We're not, as you rightly say, none of us are advisors. We're just people out there trying to educate people on what we've learned and what those around us have learned. And the one thing that I've learned is that investing in gold 10 years ago has given me a 10% increase as an average over 10 years. And that 10 times 10, for those who didn't go to school, is 100%. Then it gets compound, it's even more. But let's just take it simple. 10 by 10, it's 100% growth in 10 years. And you would not have got that anywhere near that in a bank, even if you were investing in the highest risk ever. I mean, the one thing with gold and silver and precious metals is, as long as you have control of them, it's the safest thing you'll ever have.
Well, that's what it is. I just look at precious metals and I just think, when I look at some metals, I just think safety, security. That's what it is. And it's great for normal, average, everyday, hardworking families that don't understand the financial markets. It's great for them. You know, if people come to me, and for most people that we deal with, it's the best thing they can do. Because they don't want all that risk. They don't want they're scared of all that risk in the financial markets, blah, blah, blah. Well, just swap paper currency for real money, for gold, silver. It's as simple as that, you know?